Our cover story tonight is about Pakistan, a well-known sanctuary and exporter of terrorism in its neighborhood. Has the pre-eminent guardian of suicide missions now become a suicide state? Are the voracious terrorist demons it created now eating their own maker? The biggest of these radical terrorist forces with a theological, ideological agenda is now the Tehreek-e-Taliban, in short TTP, or the Pakistani Taliban. It was created by the ISI at the heart of Pakistan's deep state to help the Afghan Taliban headquartered in Quetta and known as the Quetta Shura to capture Kabul. That mission was achieved back in 2021. Now the TTP has adopted a new objective: to take over Pakistan and turn it into a Talibani state. Look at what just happened this afternoon. TTP terror reached Pakistan's capital. There was a suicide blast in Islamabad. It claimed the life of one policeman, injured 4 other security officials, along with 2 civilians. Let me get you more details now. Where did this blast unfold? In Islamabad's I-10 sector located in the southwest. The sector borders Rawalpindi, which is the headquarters of the Pakistan Army, and home to the Afghan Taliban's Rawalpindi Shura. Now, reports say the blast occurred when a suicide bomber exploded himself at a checkpoint. He was traveling in a taxi with a woman. When he was stopped by the security officials, he pulled the plug. Listen to this statement now from Islamabad's police chief.
At around 10:15 a.m., the police spotted a suspicious car. It was a taxi with a man and woman seated inside. The Islamabad Police's Eagle Squad intercepted them and, believing that they looked suspicious, started a body search. During the body search, the young man, who had long hair, went back to the car and blew himself up. The terrorists were killed on the spot. 1 policeman was martyred and 3 or 4 policemen were injured. They have been shifted to hospital and are being treated. I believe the policemen have saved Islamabad from heavy losses through their bravery and presence of mind.
Just minutes after this statement, the TTP claimed responsibility for the attack. It acknowledged its role in the blast, saying the attack was carried to avenge the killing of its senior leader, a certain Abdul Wali. He was apparently killed in a roadside bombing in August this year. Now, here's the thing. The TTP has neither been shy about its objectives nor hidden them. Last year, on the 10th of December to be precise, it called off its shaky truce with Islamabad. We reported on it. First, it seems inconceivable that a Pakistani government should sign a ceasefire truce with terrorists. That is precisely what happened. That is precisely what the Pakistan Army did when Imran Khan was Prime Minister. Now it was the TTP which called off the truce. It then issued a 2-word message to its followers: be ready. For what exactly? This the TTP did not publicize, although its terrorist brigade got the message as clearly as the authorities. You see, it doesn't take a genius to understand what they meant. This was a warning for Islamabad to brace itself for more trouble, more unrest, more violence, and more terror attacks. In the last 12 months, the group has carried out a series of deadly attacks against the Pakistani state and the people opposed to its ideology. On the 6th of February this year, TTP terrorists killed 5 Pakistani soldiers. They're said to have fired on them from across the Durand line. And then, on February 22nd, the TTP claimed responsibility for a grenade attack on a police post in Peshawar. Take a look. Now, as I was saying, in this attack, at least 4 policemen were killed. And then on the 23rd of March, TTP terrorists carried out an attack in North Waziristan. It claimed the lives of 4 Pakistani soldiers. And then on the 10th of October, a day after the 10th anniversary of the shooting, of Malala Yousafzai, unidentified armed men opened fire on a van carrying schoolgirls. 2 students were injured. This attack unfolded in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Swat Valley. And all evidence indicated that it was the TTP that was behind it. And last month, the TTP killed 6 Pakistani policemen in the country's northwest region. I have some numbers for you now. In 2022, Pakistan witnessed a 51% rise in terror attack, 5-1. There were at least 250 attacks this year, which killed more than 433 people and injured at least 790. Most of these attacks have been attributed to the TTP. Just look at these numbers now. That's not all. Last year, the TTP released a video. It showed the Tehreek's chief, Noor Wali Mehsood, visiting the northern zone. An undisclosed location in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, it showed him addressing scores of TTP supporters as a dozen armed men stood behind him. Do you know what he told the gathering? He said the TTP is not a separate organization, but it is in fact a branch of the Afghan Taliban. What does that mean? It means that the group is part of the new Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan, and that is something that it had long denied. For decades, the TTP had called itself a separate and distinct outfit, not a Taliban offshoot. Nobody believed them, so it decided to drop the pretense altogether. Listen to this now.
تحریک طالبان پاکستان داد امارت اسلامی یو شاخته دیگی چتره یو حسادو تحریک طالبان پاکستان داد امارت اسلامی یو شاخته دیگی چتره یو حسادو تحریک طالبان پاکستان.
What does this tell you? That the TTP has become a septic thorn in Pakistan's flesh, spreading the poison of chaos and the fear of destabilization. The phrase Frankenstein's monster is well known. Dr. Frankenstein created a monster which turned on its maker. That is what is happening now. The TTP is turning on its very creators. Let me give you a bit of context here. Back in 1989, when the Soviet troops left Afghanistan, the Pakistan Army reorganized the Pashtun tribes who fought them into fighting a force in northwestern Pakistan. They called this force the Army of Mujahideen. Many in this army later went on to join the Taliban, and later, when the Americans invaded Afghanistan, Pakistan turned against the very group it had created and positioned itself as a West ally in the war on terror. A host of these Pashtun tribes, which Pakistan had trained, gradually turned against the military and formed the Tehreek-e-Taliban, aka the Pakistani Taliban. And since then, the TTP has waged a brutal guerrilla war in Pakistan. It is in direct control of vast swathes of territory in the northwest region, in the northwest frontier region of Pakistan, out of the reach of the Pak Army. And now it wants more territory, more legitimacy. The return of the Afghan Taliban next door has come as a booster shot for the TTP's ambitions. The group has found a new life and perhaps new weaponry to take on the Pakistani state. The recent spate of attacks, including the one on Islamabad today, only proves that it's a classic case of chickens coming home to roost. The question is, can Pakistan fight the TTP back? Will it be able to survive the coming storm? The many attacks the TTP has promised, it's only a matter of time before we find out. WION World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.